Jay here, Stretford, Paddock, and this is a video looking at Ralf Rangnick's time at Manchester United. We know Ralf Rangnick came in as interim manager with this reputation of being someone who could oversee clubs, someone who'd invented the gegenpressing style of football, or certainly been one of the pioneers of it. And there was a lot of expectation. There's also a little bit of uncertainty and mystery around him from laymen like myself, but other people thought this is the guy that could come here and shape things up at Manchester United. Didn't really work out like that, did it? He came in, at first, the first sort of 60 minutes against Crystal Palace looked great, and we saw what he was trying to do, and then things didn't quite work out as well. We got knocked out of the Cup Middlesbrough, got knocked out of the Champions League to Atletico Madrid. We had a horrendous end-of-season run, which saw 6 straight away defeats. So why did it all go wrong? What happened? Why didn't this pioneer of gegenpressing and this, Deutsch Footballmeister, or whatever you want to call it, apologies for that one, why did it not work out? Well, we're looking at the journey. Ralf Rangnick's appointment to eventual departure from Manchester United, both as interim manager and consultant. He isn't going to be staying on. And seeing what happened, we're looking at all the videos we made at the time, looking at it, our expectations, our hopes, and eventually the failures that went on with Ralf Rangnick's time at Manchester United Football Club. So let's check it out.
Romano's confirmed that the Rangnick stuff's all done. We're expecting an official confirmation from the club.
Comunicado official.
Probably this morning, maybe later in the day, but today it seems as though everything's sorted and finished and it should be announced officially very soon. But obviously Romano's gone with it already. It is done. The deal is confirmed. We're just waiting on the official announcement, but the deal's done. There's obviously a difference between running clubs in the 4th divisions and, bringing them to top divisions. That's obviously different. But even if you just look at what he did at Schalke, what they did at Leipzig as well, he's taken 2 teams from relative obscurity or certainly from lower divisions to Champions League semi-finals, something that obviously isn't the ultimate goal for Man United, but I think we'd all take a Champions League semi-final right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can say, oh, he's never done it at a big club. Well, he's getting to Champions League semi-finals with essentially not nobodies, but small teams.
Yeah.
So if he can get Man United to a Champions League semi-final, and maybe the quality we have, which is obviously better than Schalke's in 2011 or Leipzig in 2019, they got to the semi-final. Maybe we can go all the way with the right structures in place that he's got a very good track record of doing. I think the 6 months is obviously important just for, we've got to get top 4. Hopefully, let's say a good push in both the Champions League and the FA Cup. But the 2 years is the important thing. That's the stabiliser. That's the one where you sort of go, we're building an identity for the club that goes on past this current manager and hopefully past the next manager and past the next manager. We've got some structure, we've got some idea of what this club's going to be long-term rather than just bouncing from short-term appointment to short-term appointment.
I'm sure Ralf Rangnick's in the WhatsApp group now, and I'm sure that he's probably had a Zoom call at the Players' Hotel last night with them where he's introduced them to himself. This United team has pressed before, it just hasn't done recently. So I've seen people say, oh, you're going to get loads of injuries and this and the other. We'd already, I don't know if you remember this, when Ollie took over, we were bottom of every single league table there was possible to be in terms of sprints and distance covered and all the rest of that. And he got us up to like 4th or 5th into that list. So we weren't the best, but we'd certainly flipped it on its head and now we were no longer nowhere near the worst. So we'd already started to become that. That's fell off in the last 6 months for whatever reason. So I don't necessarily think it's the most insane thing for Rangnick to tweak what we saw today and maybe take it to the next level. I think this was clearly us trying to get ready for Rangnick. You might start to see United begin to start dominate games again. I'm excited for it. Whether it's 6 months or not, whoever's going to be the full-time manager on the back end of that, I hope it's someone like a Ten Hag, but this is going to be a very interesting 6 months, I think, for United, and I can't wait.
Are you excited about Ralf Rangnick's evolution?
I am excited.
Yeah?
You know what it is? I feel like we already started to see a little bit of like remnants of things that we could expect to see under Rangnick, under Carrick, to be honest. I know Carrick's saying he didn't have much influence or outer influence from Rangnick, but I think there was a slight change in the way we set up under Carrick to Ollie. And I think it's a decent segue and transition into the big man himself.
I thought there were some really positive signs. It looked like they kind of knew what they were trying to achieve, but weren't quite fully achieving it. We'd read the thing, we hadn't practiced the thing, which might literally be what's happened. Considering, he mentioned that they struggled to actually get a full training session in because of the weather yesterday. So they said they only got 45 minutes on the grass. So you're not going to expect complete implementation of everything. But I did think it was a one step in the right kind of direction.
United end the year with a 3-1 win against Burnley at Old Trafford. It was a complete different performance to that against Newcastle, what we saw on Monday. I don't know what Ralf has said to those players in the 2 days that have passed from Monday's performance, but it was a completely different team effort. Manchester United eliminated from the FA Cup at the hands of Middlesbrough via a penalty shootout. Just saying that just makes, I think, all of us frustrated. Never mind watching the game. I think the amount of chances that Manchester United made in that game and weren't taken. Cristiano Ronaldo had about 7 chances, probably in the first half. I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong. The players have had all this time off. Some of them have been out to Dubai training, having a nice time. They've come down tonight and they couldn't even, with a full strength team, mind you, probably bar David De Gea, a full strength team's out and they couldn't get past a struggling Middlesbrough side who've only just picked up form after the managerial change with Chris Wilder coming in. What is the problem in that dressing room that they can't go out and put a performance after a 2-3 week break against a mid-table championship side?
United have been beaten 4-1 by City, and I can't lie, I'm just numb to it all now. Absolutely numb to it all. I was sat there on the kick-off, watching the goals go in. Even with Boovy next to me, I was numb to it all. Not even he could wind me up. Well, he could wind me up, but you know what I mean? At the moment, it just feels like this is what we are. You know, City are going to pull our pants down, Liverpool will pull our pants down. Yeah, we've got a chance against some of the other Premier League teams, but more often than not, Man United let us down.
Man United have been knocked out of the Champions League by Atletico Madrid. It might be the last time we're in the Champions League for a while, Andy?
Yeah, it's the results was well deserved because they stuck to a plan and they neutralised us. I thought the first half was pretty good, but the second half we were awful. It's effort. I want to see effort. We all want to see effort. We're all angry. We're all emotional, and I'm not going in on him. It's because the players are just a waste of time, mate. I mean, the only good thing this season is Ralf, and Ollie's protected these players so much. And they've gone hiding. They've gone hiding here. They've apologised there. Apologised there. We're all sick of it, mate. I'm not going to swear on them because I'm not wasting my breath on them. They are a pathetic bunch of players. It's borderline criminal. It's disgusting. These players will get away with it. If it was in front of a court, they would plead and plead and plead, even though they're guilty. And they're absolute garbage. We know it's give us another chance.
So you can see there from all the clips that we've accumulated, that we've spoken about this season, from our expectations, our hopes, the optimism that some of us had that maybe this different direction the club was taking would be a little bit better, would be a bit more joined up, would make sense. It's okay. Look at it. Here's a man who's had all this experience, 60-odd years old, been around for a long time. He's admired by the likes of Thomas Tuchel, Jurgen Klopp, Julian Nagelsmann as well. They look at him and they go, this is a guy who has pioneered gegenpresses, helps move German football forward, has been a mentor to these immensely successful managers and coaches. But as we saw with the results, as we saw with the football, as we saw with the fallouts, as we saw with those reactions we've showed you, it didn't work out at all. I'm struggling to see any positives from Ralf Rangnick's time at Manchester United. The one positive I could find is his performance in press conferences. He didn't hold back, did he? He called out the board, the owners or whoever, when it said he wanted those signings. He wanted to bring in someone like Alvarez or Diaz during the transfer window and wasn't allowed to. He wasn't afraid to go toe-to-toe with certain players that he felt weren't giving their all. And you can admire that. But was that really enough? Was that press conference reward enough for all the failures that we saw? I'm not so sure it was. At the end of the day, he came in and we were still in the FA Cup. We were still in the Champions League. We were still within touching distance of top 4. We didn't get top 4. We exited the Champions League at the next round and we exited the FA Cup early doors against Middlesbrough, albeit by a dubious decision, but we still went out to a championship team. Wasn't good enough, was it? And on the whole, you have to look at Ralf Rangnick's time and say it was a failure at Manchester United. You can't describe it as anything but the worst win ratio, I think, of any manager since Frank O'Farrell, I think it was. Certainly the worst Premier League record. And there was all these hopes when he came in, but they just didn't materialise. And I think the board have to look at themselves and think, what were we hoping for? What was the plan in bringing in someone who was best known as almost like an executive, who'd moved out of the dugout, really? He'd only spent 2 of the last 10 years in a dugout. Why are we bringing him in as Manchester United's interim manager to shake up the dressing room? When that wasn't what he'd been doing. He'd been an overseer. He'd been almost like a director of football, someone that could build an entire club like he'd done with RB Salzburg, like he'd done with RB Leipzig. So, okay, it makes sense he's going to become a consultant after he has been interim manager, but he's gone before he's done any consultancy. Whether that's Erik ten Hag's decision, whether that's the board's decision, whether that's even Ralf Rangnick's decision himself, we don't know yet. But one thing is for certain. When Ralf Rangnick came in, we expected and hoped for so much more. Just didn't happen, did it? Anyway, this has been a roundup of Ralf Rangnick's time at Manchester United. Get involved in the comments. Do you agree? Was it just a failure? Do you take any positives for things other than the press conferences? Are there any other positives you can take? Do you look at maybe, I don't know, the Leeds United result? There's not many results, is there, to look at? But Leeds United results and 1 or 2 others, I'm struggling here, and think, you know what, I liked Ralf, I thought he did a decent job. Or do you agree that it just didn't work out? And why didn't it work out? Let us know what you think. Make sure you are as well subscribing to the channel. This has been Ralf Rangnick's time at Manchester United. I've been Jay Motti. Thanks for watching.